Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends of ConVOCO, welcome. I'd like to welcome you today to the 2012 ConVOCO Forum in the Mozarteum here in Salzburg. 2012, we have the following topic: between what is and what should be, societies that break their own law as a threat to liberty. Before I start on this topic, I would like to give you some basic ideas and considerations on my initiative, ConVOCO. I'm very pleased that you're all here today. That proves that my foundation, ConVOCO, has found its place in our world. ConVOCO, it comes from the Latin word convocare, which means to convene, uses interfaces and brings people from different areas and disciplines together. ConVOCO is active in the areas of science, economy, politics, and culture. It brings opponents and like-minded individuals together. Our goal is to think about things together, to figure out what our world will look like tomorrow. And ConVOCO gives us a number of platforms for this purpose: lectures, a forum, publication, and a website. And I am proud that since the fall of 2011, we now also have ConVOCO London. So this is a step that has now been completed to become located in the Anglo-American world as well. And this is also the English publication of who the knowledge of the world belongs to. So we now have ConVOCO 3.0. That's a young group at ConVOCO. I'm not saying that we're old, of course. Now, with this extension, we have two new alignments: see it whole and see it fresh. So this is an invitation to take a holistic approach, open, genuine, and innovative. Observations, presentations, and analyses of the problems. These are to be done at a meta level that takes globalization into account. In other words, see things in their global context. To take it global, that is the key word. Because we need to deal with our problems in a different way. This is what we need to do. That is our concern. A change in the present is what we are focused on, and an anticipated change to the near future. Because a lot will have to be changed to keep things as they are. And now I'd like to come to today's topic: between what is and what should be, societies that break their own law as a threat to our liberty. I'd like to focus on the word society. We'll be looking at the phenomenon of breaking laws by society. In other words, laws that are broken by many in our community at the same time, the reasons for this and the impact this has. We have noticed that the sense of law within our society is changing. It seems to be disintegrating, and individuals' willingness to obey by the rules is disappearing. That's why I have a provocative theory: the rule of law, the welfare state, and the culture state. They are all at risk. Let me explain what I mean. Laws are broken by society in various areas, and you can see this in all classes. The most striking and current example of society breaking laws can be seen in the Treaty of Maastricht. The maxim pacta sunt servanda is no longer a guiding principle. Contracting parties conclude contracts without the intention of abiding by them. All they intend to do when they conclude a contract is to meet with its formal requirements. Pacta sunt servanda is an imperative, however. Once you have decided to conclude a contract, then the contractual fulfillment is something that is a requirement, categorically speaking. We Germans, unfortunately, have contributed to a great extent in the breach of the Maastricht Treaty. Gerhard Schröder terminated it in 2003. Under his government, the criteria for Maastricht were not fulfilled by Germany in 2003 and 2002. In an interview in early 2012, Schröder said, "I had just realized or put the agenda into effect. I had deleted more than 20 billion euros and had put into place a very important reform of the labor market. So we couldn't strangle the economy anymore. So we asked for more leeway when it came to these criteria." So at this point, I think we should ask ourselves the following question. What is the purpose of treaties? Why are treaties made? What makes a treaty so attractive? Treaties are made to obtain something that you don't have. In the case of Europe, the treaty is attractive because by joining with other cultures, with this treaty, we have joined other cultures and got these cultures as well. And what is behind all of this is the following. Individual states have to be different and must remain different when it comes to their identity. The controlling factor within Europe must be egoism of the national states, of the nation states. Within Europe, every country should follow its own interests. Democracy is linked to nation states. And it would be wrong to think that assimilation would solve our problems. On the contrary, the idea of nation states must be reinforced. Only then will we have equal rights in our partnership. We have to maintain our own interests when concluding a contract or treaties. Otherwise, any contract would be nothing but deception. For Europe, this means that Europe will only survive if each country confirms its legal position. Our aim is to have a Europe of strong fatherlands. That's the old idea from de Gaulle, a Europe of fatherlands. However, it's not only just treaties that are not being abided by. Laws are being broken as well. Violation of the rules in the field of data privacy and copyright. These are the order of the day. For example, content is illegally downloaded from the web and it's treated as a minor offense. But sectors of the economy are at risk, but nobody seems to be interested in that. Companies like Facebook or Google violate data protection directives, but users make use of their services nonetheless. And in other areas as well, we see that society is not abiding by the laws. Tax evasion or moonlighting are just a couple of examples. Today, we see our actions as follows. Abiding by the rules would only deteriorate our situation. So this really opens the doors wide open for breaking the law. People are calling for deregulation. That is today's mindset in our society. What people want is to assert their own personal advantages. Deregulation, and this is something that most people seem to overlook, this is based on despotism. And that means that the strongest party will be the ones to assert themselves. Ladies and gentlemen, in a society where the strongest parties are asserted is not a society we want to live in. The common weal is no longer the top priority. Bonum commune from Caesar and Cicero's will be lost. and as a result, our welfare state will no longer exist. So that brings me to the second part of our topic. This is a threat to our liberty. Certain freedoms are guaranteed by our basic law, and this is the essential basis for our social order. An individual's freedom is guaranteed by our basic law. Its limits are found where the freedom of the others begins, and this two-way system with its limits has worked very well up to now. But now there are also attacks there as well. In Article 2, Section 1 of the Basic Law, we have the right to self-determination where information is concerned. If an individual indirectly waives his basic rights by simply violating them and accepting this violation without protesting against it. However, these risks are also risks to our system based on liberty and democracy. As I said before, because this means they are dissolving our social contract. And secondly, because a non-violation or the violation of a law also undermines the authority of the state. On the other hand, you have to remember that when society breaks laws, this is something that can be necessary in order to develop our rights to freedom. This is something that is deliberately chosen as an instrument to this effect. Here, society breaking the law is not seen as a risk to freedom, but as a means for obtaining our freedom. And this is where revolutions are at home. So we have to consider the following questions. How important is law for our coexistence? Where are the limits to the enforceability of laws? What degree of legal violation will lead to its being futile in purpose? Can we increase the willingness to abiding by the rules? If so, how? And what is the cause for this breaking of the law by our society? These are questions that we need to answer, ladies and gentlemen, and I invite you to help us find answers to those questions. Thank you very much.